What's up, my dudes? We got the MXGP 2019 game going to be coming out in August of 2019, so we got a little bit of time away until that. Yeah, here we are with the next, MXGP game. Wanted to come in here and kind of talk about it. They came out with a little bit of a trailer style video. As per usual with the first sort of announcement videos, they pretty much show absolutely nothing. I mean, that's pretty much the way it is. There are some cool announcements and stuff within the trailer, but as far as actually seeing gameplay and stuff like that, you're seeing about literally like 2.5 seconds of gameplay. So you can't really base anything off of anything when it comes to that, but I find it to be quite hilarious how I'm painted out to be this, milestone game hater, and I don't understand these games, and these games can never please me, and I'm just Spencer Turley rant about the milestone games over and over and over, right? It's funny how a lot of people paint me out to be that and say that, but the fact of the matter is pretty much every single thing I've ever said that they should put in these games, they have eventually put in these games. So if I was wrong, then why the hell have they went in there and literally put every single thing I've ever told them to put into their games? They've pretty much done that in the next game or the next game. I mean, seriously, guys, come on now. So even going back, let me just give you a couple examples right here, okay? Whenever I went in there and said, hey, you need to have a compound in Supercross 2 the game for free from the jump. They went in there and did that, even though they didn't have that in the first game. That was one of my big complaints in the first Supercross game. Well, they went in there and gave you a free one in the second game. Went in there and complained about the MXGP Pro physics. I said, well, let me just take a little step back real quick to explain it to you even better, because they've changed it in every single game in the way that I've said that they should change it. Okay, so back in the days of the original, the first Supercross official Monceu Supercross game, right? I said the jumps are too easy. There's not enough skill. There's not enough risk to coming up short on stuff, right? And everybody was saying, "Oh, you're stupid, Spencer. It's not supposed to be that difficult. It's an arcade motocross game," and all this crap they tried to paint me out to be, right? And then they come out with MXGP Pro, which is way more difficult on the bike, right? Way more risk to coming up short and popping off the bike if you overjump something or come up short. And then they actually ended up doing it a little too much. It actually ended up turning it into being a little bit more of a janky system. So I went in there and said, hey, you went a little too hardcore on the popping off on the bike on MXGP Pro. So what'd they do? They go in there and lower the popping off effect in Monster Energy Supercross 2, the official video game. So literally every single thing I've ever said, I say go in there and put a track editor in your next MXGP game. That's literally the first thing they show in this MXGP 2019 trailer. Track editor mode on. I say go in there and put waypoint modes like trail waypoint, some other different kind of racing. What's the next point they have in their 2019 MXGP game trailer? Waypoint mode on, bro. All this stuff I've said, they have just slowly but surely just about put in every single thing I was saying to put into these games 2 years ago, right? And I've had to continue to say it after every game they come out with. No, this is not where it needs to be. You need to put this in. You need to do this. You need to do that. And then now we're to the point where they finally put in damn near every single one of those things I told them to put in, and now we have a better game. So congratulations, guys. You've hated on me for no reason, and they have literally put in just about every single thing I've told them to put in 2 years ago. So there you go. Good one on you, boys. Good way to over-defend something for no apparent reason. Good God. I've never seen it in my life like that before. It's funny because they don't do that. Whenever I'll go in there and I'll disagree with something on an MX versus ATV game, or I'll kind of trash talk something that's in an MX versus ATV game, people don't get on me for that, right? You don't see this absolute explosion of fanboys in the comments and, a super dislike ratio to the videos and stuff when I go in there and disagree with an MX versus ATV game or pretty much any other kind of game out there, man. It's not like that. But when I talk about a milestone game, an official Monster Energy Supercross game, oh, shit. It's I can't have an opinion about it, right? People won't even let me have an opinion about it. It's just funny how it is, They get blinded by it's like they're seeing in tunnel vision, you know what I mean? They don't see everything else around them, and or they haven't played enough motocross games to understand everything around them, and they just see the official Supercross title, and that's literally all they can see with it. Like, it's just it's beyond me, bro. Because all these things that they've added, this is all stuff I was saying these games should have had 2 years ago. All of this extra skill gap, all of this, you know the difference in the skill of the jumping rhythms in Supercross 2, the game, versus the first game. That was one of my big complaints I was pushing in the first game. You got to fix this. You got to do something about this. You got to actually at least have some kind of risk to coming up short on jumps, right? I sat in there and complained about the jumps don't feel big enough in these MXGP games. You don't feel like you're getting enough airtime. Well, now you're getting way more airtime in Supercross 2, the official video game. You're getting way more airtime on that new motocross track and the new compound of Supercross 2, the official video game. They got way bigger motocross jumps on that. I go in there and say, hey, not every single track has to be one of the replica tracks, even though it's a replica game. You can go in there and put different kind of tracks in the game. What do? They start putting in different kind of tracks, start putting in trail type vibe sections in their free ride compounds. I mean, they've literally done every single thing that I've been pushing and telling them to do. Not to the extent, you know what I mean, that I necessarily think they should do. I still think they can still improve on a lot of that stuff, but they have went in there and attempted to adjust and change on pretty much every single complaint I've had with their game. So if I was wrong about any of that, then why have they went in there and tried to change it? Why? I went in there and complained about the whips in Supercross 2, the official video game. Said these are absolute trash, these are ass in every way. That was one of their first big updates that they put in that game. Completely sped up the whip animation in Supercross 2, the official video game. But oh no, when I was first making that video about that, oh no, everybody hated on me, disliked my video, you know. It's just, it's a mess, dog. It's just so funny how all of my points to these games have been proven over time because they have changed it in the ways that I've been telling them to change it. Now, they haven't put nowhere near the content I still think they need to have. They have put more in than what they had back in these days, but they're still not where they need to be on that. And then still with the physics, feeling on the bike, in error, jump, fun factor, skill gap, they're still not quite where they need to be on all that. Jump design, actual ruts that you can get into in corners, and roughness and braking bumps, acceleration bumps, all that kind of vibe. They still haven't quite got to that yet, right? And you're eventually going to have that, and when you do get that, you can thank me later, dog, right? Like, thank me later. I was saying all this shit 2 years ago, but no, people don't want to accept that. It's just funny because it's like Milestone gets everything just a game later than I feel like they should get it. You know what I mean? It's like they get everything a year later. Like, I was expecting those kind of feelings and all that stuff on Supercross 2, the official video game, when the first Supercross game came out, right? I was expecting at least that kind of jump, fun factor, and skill gap and all that. And it's like, it seems like you don't get what you think you're going to get until a year later on a lot of little different aspects and stuff with these Milestone games because of how frequently they come out. I had somebody comment saying, Milestone had totally lost the rights to the MXGP series. Yeah, good one, dog. I don't know if you're just trolling, but we had MXGP 2019, so that's obviously not true. I still have the rights to that. I know a lot of people at this point really just want a AMA national series, right? Seems kind of silly how they have a official Supercross game, and then the same company makes official MXGP game, but they don't make an official Lucas Oil national motocross game, right? It's a little confusing because I would think if they realized how much money they were getting off of the official Supercross game title, and all the Americans buying into that, then having an official Lucas Oil national game, all the Americans would buy into that just the same way, But basically, they got a track editor coming in this next game, so we'll just have to kind of see how that works out. Obviously, the outdoor track editor, something I've been saying, should have been in MXGP Pro, right? There's another example of something coming a year later than what we should have had. If you had a track editor in the first Supercross game, why the hell did you not have a track editor in MXGP Pro, which came out after the first Supercross game? It's like, oh yeah, we're going to give you a track editor, then not have it in the next game? Yeah, you can't do that, dog. Yeah, and same thing with the compound, okay? You can't have a compound track in MXGP 3 and then not have a compound track in the first official Monster Energy Supercross game. You can't have that, right? Of course, they did later in paid DLC, but you can't have something in one game and then just strip that out and not have that in the next game. You can't do that with that specific kind of stuff, because it just looks like you're being lazy, or you're just cutting content and just not putting in what we just had in the game before. It literally makes no sense. So yeah, we've got obviously in the trailer, it's kind of going through this cool little, kind of like they're in a bit of a, garage area type vibe going on, and the track editor mode on doesn't say any information about it really. Obviously, something we've got to have. If you're looking at the track editor in this MXGP 2019 game, like, oh my God, good job, Milestone. Yes. No, yeah, that's what we expect at this point in your next motocross game. That's how you should be thinking about it. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but if they didn't have a track editor in MXGP 2019, you'd just be killing your game. Like, that's all you'd be doing. So, I mean, yeah, I'm happy for them. I'm excited. I'm like, yeah, thank God. But really, more of me is saying, like, okay, finally you're putting in what we expect at this point, right? Like, and then the whole waypoint mode, I don't really know what that entails. I don't know if that's like a, like reflex waypoint, if we're talking like some sort of, I mean, I'm getting the vibe that it's some kind of like trail enduro-y style waypoint, kind of like what I'm thinking is like they're going to have waypoint through like a free ride area, and it's going to kind of take you through like over log sections or whatever. That's the kind of idea I have is the waypoint, but it may be more like the Omnicross on Reflex, maybe more like a, trophy truck style track trail thing. I'm not exactly sure what they mean by waypoint on that. So, but that's a thing. But basically, the whole thing they're pushing, like the whole new thing they're kind of pushing with this MXGP 2019 is the fact that it's going to be the 2019 series instead of the 2018 series. So you're getting the current year series instead of the year before series. You know what I mean? So that's kind of their, like, basically that's why it's called MXGP 2019, is because that's kind of what they're pushing in the game, is basically the whole, like typically with these milestone games, usually you're getting the whole like year, the what bike all the riders are on, the gear and all that from the year before the game actually comes out, right? Because they put all that in from the year before. You get all the track replicas of the year before. So, like, for instance, Supercross 2, the official video game, came out in 2019, but it had all the 2018 Supercross replicas. MXGP Pro came out in 2018, right? But it had all the 2017 replicas on it, if I'm not mistaken. Be a little harder to do that in Supercross because it's, like, at the very beginning of the year. Be kind of hard to come out with a game like that in that certain year that had, but they could do that, but they always try to come out with the Supercross games a little bit earlier. But either way, that's kind of what they're pushing with it. So, I mean, that's cool and all, but I'm ready for them to show more stuff going on. That track editor better be bomb and a half, bro, if you want to get people really into this next MXGP game, because we're burnt out on these MXGP games at this point. I mean, I don't really see how you can disagree with me on that. I don't see how that's even possible. I mean, it's just been the same old same, like, through all these past MXGP, MXGP2, MXGP3, MXGP Pro. It's been the same thing, same kind of vibe tracks. I mean, little improvements here and there, but nothing massive. It's been small improvements through every game, and I mean, they're finally now to the point where you're going to get more of a solid experience, a solid game, but it's taking us, 7 or 8 different games through a series to get there. Like, it's been a lot of games. They have made you pay a lot of money. That, it's been a lot of releases, a lot of spitting games out to even get to this point, right? So you can't forget that, But I hope they have their head on straight when it comes to giving you like 3 different free ride compounds instead of just one, then charging you for some DLC, paid DLC later. Really hope they go in there and put the 2 strokes back in. That's just another example of what the hell are you doing? You had 2 strokes in MXGP Pro, then you take them out for the Supercross 2 game. What in the absolute fuck? That makes no sense at all. There's so many things Milestone does that just makes no sense. Like, it literally, I don't even see how it's even a debatable like with the whole having a compound in MXGP3 and then not having one in the first official Monster Energy Supercross game from the jump, right, when the game first came out for free. Why? That doesn't even make any sense at all. That literally makes no sense. Why would you not have that? You can't even debate that because they just had it in the game before. And then the two strokes is like, have those in MXGP Pro and then don't have them in Supercross 2, the official video game. Why? Like, it literally, there's no, you can't even make any sense out of it if you tried. Like, there's no way you couldn't. There's just no way. You can't make sense out of that right there, dude. So, I don't know. There's so many weird little things Milestone does with their games that just very, very confusing. I don't know where the hell they're coming from with a lot of their newer microtransaction practices they've been doing. I hope they realize that the modern day gamer is well aware of what the fuck is going on with microtransactions in these $60 AAA price games. I'm not talking about free-to-play games, right? But the ones that come out with a game that's $60 and then try to charge you DLC with content that should have been in that original game. Like, us gamers know what the hell's going on, Milestone. We're not stupid. I know you're trying to cash in on this new money-hungry, greedy, type thing that a lot of these game companies are doing. But now you're starting to see a lot of the game companies smarten their ass up. Like in Battlefront 2, no one was buying the shit. So they had to rethink what the hell they were doing. They've had to totally rebuild games from the ground up now because they were based around microtransaction. They realized all the gamers are standing up and going, yo, we ain't buying this dumb shit. Like in Milestone, you're eventually going to realize people's not going to just buy that shit. You're going to have, Johnny Pee-Pee Pants getting his mom's credit card and buying it. And then you got people like me that have to review it on YouTube. I'm going to have to buy it, but I'm going to make that money back on that YouTube video anyways, though. You know what I'm saying, dog? So technically I'm not really buying it, but you know what I'm saying. If I was just a normal average dude that wasn't making YouTube videos and all that shit, I promise you I would not be buying any of this DLC that they have in these Milestone games because it's all should have been in the original game. Like, there's not even enough content in the base version of their $60 game, and then they're going to charge you for the more track content and free ride track content and all that. What the hell are you doing, Milestone? Put that in the base version of the game so that you have adequate amount of content in your motocross game that we all deserve in the game. Like, how in the hell? I don't understand that at all. But either way, I don't know. I've spoken my mind about this Milestone shit, but eventually, I feel like day by day, people are just waking up to it, They're just starting to realize, oh, okay, yeah, this is just a 15% improvement for another AAA $60 game. Okay, should have had a track editor in MXGP Pro. They stripped that out. Should have had two strokes in the first official Monster Energy Supercross game and the second official Monster Energy Supercross game. They stripped that out. They make you pay for the second free ride compound in Supercross 2. They didn't even have a free ride compound in the first Supercross game. What the hell? I feel like people are waking up to this shit just day by day, Milestone. You got everybody kind of tricked. You got everybody looking through the rose-colored glasses. You got everybody kind of looking tunnel vision and not seeing the negatives just with finally another official Monster Energy Supercross game, right? That really, I feel like, has swayed so many people's opinions, and they just cannot see the problems and the negatives and they just can't see it, when it comes to the graphics and what they're actually playing with, like Eli Tomac, Monster Energy logos. It just sends people into a frenzy. I mean, there's no other way to say it. It just sends people into an absolute frenzy, and then they just don't realize the truth of what's going on here. And that's been the case since day one, man. Have they made improvements with these Milestone games? Hell yeah, they have. But has it taken them twice as many games as it should have to get to that point? Yes. And should their games have been half priced of a AAA game for the amount of content? Yes. That's my whole issue here, dog. Is they're acting like this is $60 AAA level material. And they're giving you half of the content of what you normally get in motocross games. So that's the whole sort of issue. And but yeah, either way, with MXGP 2019 video game, I mean, it'll be cool to see all the modern, up-to-date 2019, gear. I'm guessing that's what they're going to have, all the actual 2019 series. It looks like it's going to have more of a campaign mode, more of a realistic type campaign thing going on. That's just kind of the vibe I got from the trailer. It's just kind of the feeling I got from it. I don't know if that's true or not, but we'll see what goes on with that whole Waypoint series. I hope they have some Supercross tracks in the 2019 MXGP game. Like, come on now. It's not going to kill you to go in there and add 5 random, like give us a little outdoor snow Supercross track, a little like your new Compound DLC, Playground DLC, and Supercross 2, the official video game. Just add some more Supercross tracks like that in your MXGP 2019 game, so we have a little bit of that Supercross riding content, raceable content on there, along with all of your MXGP 2019 replica tracks, right? So we get that difference of not only MX tracks, but Supercross tracks, and make your waypoints have more of the enduro, hair scrambly style feel to them. Then you got that whole side of the content. And then, hey, we'll wake up and we'll have the right amount of content that we expect in a motocross game finally. Give us enough free ride tracks. Give us a cool, like, desert vibe, dune vibe, huge jump free ride compound track. Give us something kind of different like that. You've been kind of on that standard woodland vibe for a colder than a witch's titty minute now, and I'm kind of wanting to see something different when it comes to your free ride compounds and stuff. So hope you can really improve on your on track of your MX tracks. I really want to see better inside grabbable ruts, better, obviously, braking bumps, acceleration bumps, a little bit bigger jump filling, kind of more like you got in that Supercross 2 Playground MX track DLC, the actual motocross track on it, more bigger tabletops, bigger uphill jump filling, tweak on those physics a little bit of the bike in the air, give us more movement. You did show a little bit of a whip in the trailer, like very, very short little whip right there. Kind of hard to tell if it's those milestone whips, those grade A, 10 out of 10 milestone whips that we've always come to know and love, or if it's going to be more of an actual free whip system where we can really do different types of whips, turn up whips, pancake whips, all the way over whips, instead of just like hitting a button and playing an animation. I hope they really get that kind of fixed up in the next game. So we're just going to have to wait and see. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm just burnt out on this shit, dude. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's like tiring my brain out with how much they're coming out with the same shit over and over and over. But the saving grace is gonna be how good that track editor is. Like, if you have enough MX pieces and giving us enough different kind of dirt compounds and being able to like change where trees are and billboards and being able to place those in different areas and put actual ruts where you want to put them, and maybe have Supercross pieces in there in the MXGP 2019 motocross game track editor, so you can make hybrid style tracks, Supercross tracks. If you put all that in there, I promise you I'm not going to complain nowhere near as much in your next game. If you've got a solid, full-blown, true, cool track editor, I say full-blown, I mean full-blown, good enough to what you can have in a console, motocross game, like about 3 times the amount of pieces that you have in Supercross 2, the official video game, and all the different kind of track compound, actual dirt compounds and stuff like that, and just being able to do more with the track editor, change time of day, lighting effects, fog effects, be cool. It's not like you got to have a crap load of options, just some to kind of separate our tracks from everybody else. So it'd be cool to see how many options we really have in that newer track editor, But it is cool that they're going to have a track editor, thank God. I mean, that was like a must-have in my opinion. That was a no ifs, ands, or butt fucks about it, dog. We had to have it. Like, at this point, it was a must-have. So, either way, that's all they're really showing, though. I mean, honestly, they do say sharing mode on in the trailer as well. That was another little point. So sharing mode, I'm guessing that's sharing your tracks, I would assume. That's what that is. Not 100 on that, but that's just what you would assume. So obviously not a whole lot announced in that trailer. Basically, literally 5 seconds of gameplay, and it pretty much just looks like gameplay from MXGP Pro or something. I mean, it doesn't really look like all that much different. So I don't know, guys. Don't really know what all they're going to be changing, but that's kind of their big points is track editor, waypoint, and sharing mode, and it being the 2019 series instead of the year before series. So that's kind of all their different selling points. So we'll see how their physics feel. We'll see if it's, got the skill gap of MXGP Pro, but not the janky feeling of MXGP Pro. I think that's definitely, if they can get more on that, they'd be way better off versus just kind of going down more of an arcadey route. We'll see if they can get their jump design better and their MX roughness designs and stuff better, but it's just kind of a wait-and-see game at this point, guys. It's been a frustrating road, man. It's been a bizarre road. I don't know. I just feel like you could put together 2 milestone games, like basically you could have put Supercross 2, the official video game, and Supercross 1, the official video game, together and have made a good game. You know what I mean? Like, instead of coming out with it that first year, they could have came out with it the second year, and it would have been a lot better of a game, right? You could have, instead of coming out with basically like MXGP Pro when you did, you could have waited and just came out with this MXGP 2019 game, and it would have been way better of a game. You could have put all those resources, all that time, all that content, all that extra track content, all that stuff in the next game, and it would have been way better of a game. I just feel like they're putting out too much content. It'd be like if I was uploading 3 videos a day, right? It wouldn't be the same kind of quality. It's no matter what you're doing on anything, the more you're doing it, there's no way it can have the same amount of quality. Now, I think you can get away with uploading like 2 videos a day every once in a while, but some of those channels that upload like 3 and 4 videos a day, they're going down the shitter hole. They're not getting views for shit. Nobody can even keep up. You burn your subs out. Your viewers can't even keep up with what you're uploading. People don't even have enough time to watch 4 different videos from one YouTuber in a single day, right? And it's kind of the same difference with Milestone. They're just uploading. I say uploading. They're just making so many games that it's just, you can't even hardly keep up. And it's just like, you're just giving them so much money. I mean, you really are. You're paying out the ass for these games. And it's just minute improvements over and over, and then all that hard work and track content just kind of gets erased once the next one comes out. And then it's like, okay, then play this one for 3 months and get bored of it, and then the next one comes out, and then play this one for 3 months and get bored of it, or in MXGP Pro's case, play it for 1 month and get bored of it, and then the next one comes out. It's like there's no, and like when you think back to the days of Reflex, that game comes out, you play it for 10 years before you get bored of it. And they come out with a full-blown track editor on PC, and then it's like, and you only paid whatever that was back then. It may have been like $60 back then, but you only paid that one time, then played the motocross game for 10 years, a decade. You know what I mean? And then a game like MX Simulator, you pay, $30-$40 for it. Play it for a decade or better, right? Like, it's just, you're not getting nowhere near the amount of gameplay time and replayability and content and all that kind of stuff for the money you're paying. It's like, good God, bro. Good God. Even with MX versus ATV All Out, you only paid $30-$40 for that, and it's lasted quite a while. I still like to go back and play that whenever. I don't really go back and play MXGP Pro at all, ever, unless I'm making a video. I don't go back and play the first official Monster Energy Supercross game at all, unless I'm making a video. And that's just the way it is with the milestone games. You feel like you're always like looking ahead to the next game. You can never pause and like respect what they've made, or like really sit down and enjoy what they've made. It just seems like the next game, the next thing, scratch what we just did. Like, that's just the constant feeling you get with these milestone games, and it just gives it such a bizarre, repetitive, monotonous feeling. And it's just unfortunate because it's got a lot of potential, guys. It really does. And eventually we're gonna get there. Eventually, all that shit I said, it should have had, like basically being like more like Reflex, all that stuff I've been saying for all these years. Eventually, this game is gonna be more like that in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. But you will have paid another $500 throughout all the games, and it's going to take a 15% improvement over 7, 8 more games before you get that next level game that I'm really trying to like explain to you and get across to you that may last a decade. It's gonna be a lot longer from now before we get that, because of how frequently they're making the games, and they're putting that's the problem. They're putting all their resources, like they're scattering their resources out so much. Instead of saving it and putting it all into one game and making one really awesome experience that'll last for at least a year or two, they're putting in way less resources, way less TLC, way less really trying to focus on content to put in there, and then just hoping it lasts 3 or 4 months until the next game that they make, right? And then it's a hell of a cycle that they got going on, dog. A hell of a cycle. And I just don't want to see it die out because of that. I don't want to see these milestone games die out because of that whole system. Like they're not understanding the basically the quality over quantity type aspect to life. They're not understanding that key lifelong lesson that you got to learn in life. They're off on that aspect entirely, in my opinion. But we'll wait and see, man. We'll see what this MXGP 2019 is. We'll just have to see, man. I have no idea. It could be trash. It could be really awesome. Track editor could be bomb. Track editor could be like not that great. Could be kind of subpar. Waypoint mode could be terrible, or it could be, game changing, like literally. So there's just all different kind of possibilities. But they could really be taking it to the next level with like the physics system of it, kind of behind the scenes and not really telling us yet. They could be really putting in a lot of TLC on that, putting in overtime to try to get that right, and the track designs and stuff. It could be an awesome game, guys. It really could be, but at this point, I just cannot get my hopes up for another milestone game. I just can't. There's no way. Because I've just seen how they do things over and over and over and over and over again. And in the game that I'm expecting in my head, like that game I'm getting really excited for, odds are we're probably not actually going to get that kind of game for another 2 or 3 years. If I'm just being completely honest with you, with the timeline of how they've improved things and the amount of content they put in and how they put things in over time, it's probably going to be another 2 or 3 years till we get that really, really awesome game. And that's just the honest truth of it. But either way, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.